And welcome back to News 10 at 9 on November 4th. Voters go to the polls. And one of the races a lot of people are paying attention to is the Congressional District 7 race, which includes much of Sacramento County. You'll find this man's name on the ballot. We'd like to welcome former Congressman Doug Ose.
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
We should mention that you'll be going up against Ami Berra for the 7th Congressional District. And we'd like you to take this opportunity to tell people a little bit about yourself. We know that you served 3 terms.
Right.
Why did you leave Washington?
When I first ran in '98, I made a pledge to the people of this district. I'd serve 3 terms and come home. Worked out perfectly for my family. I kept the pledge. I kept my word. Came home, raised my kids. They're now off to college, out of the house. I'm trying to get back to Washington. I am not happy with the way things are. The economy is not performing the way it needs to be. You know, I mean, you just heard Jeff talking about that. People need jobs, and we need something more than just, make work jobs. And that's something Jeff didn't dig into, but I'm really focused on the economy.
Well, let me ask you, going back to Washington, how frustrated are you by this lack of working together on both sides?
Well, Washington is a very contentious pool, and it's okay that you have disagreements, but at the end of the day, you put your knives down, you got to sit down, you got to work it out. And first of all, you have to know what you're talking about. So if you're talking about the economy, you need to know how to create jobs. You need to know what drives job creators. You need to know why they do that stuff. And that's what I've done all my life. You need to know, what's going on the border. How do you fix that? What are you doing on Obamacare? You have to think in practical terms about what people's everyday lives are affected by and address those problems.
Well, practically speaking, has it gotten a lot worse than the times that you were back there?
Well, I don't know.
In terms of getting along together.
Well, I can remember some days where we had some pretty direct conversations with the other side. And frankly, I had more difficult conversations with people that on my side.
Fellow Republicans?
Yeah, because they wanted to tell me what to do. Just like, somebody's trying to tell everybody else that they got to sign up for this or they got to do that. It's just, that's just not the way this works. The member of Congress speaks for the people of this district, and there's an obligation and a duty to do that, and you got to be able to handle yourself and stand your ground.
You mentioned a couple issues. We want to focus on them right now. Let's start with water. We are in a serious drought. Can the federal government help us in some way? How?
Dan, we are in an unprecedented drought. It's already having huge effects at the grocery store in terms of the price of food. We're going to see it show up in our front yards and our backyards here in September, October, November, because the price of water from our local water agencies is going to go up. The federal government has a role to play here. Like 85% of the people who live in the 7th Congressional District get their water either directly or indirectly from Folsom Lake. And when the federal government, which operates Folsom Lake, right, they're in charge.
Okay.
When the federal government is releasing twice as much water from Folsom Lake as is flowing in from the uphill areas, then that leaves us in the dry times, September, October, November, waiting for the rain. That leaves us high and dry, if you will.
Okay.
And that's a problem.
What about immigration? That's getting so much attention right now. What do you think they should be doing in Washington?
I actually think there are 2 questions here. I think the Congress in 2008 set out to address the human trafficking issue, and they never conceived of what's happening today. You live in the United States, you never think in terms of this kind of consequence. But the reality is it's been going on for well over a year. This is not new. Nothing's been done. The children who are trying to immigrate here from countries other than Mexico or Canada, it is a huge drain on our resources, and the system needs to be changed so that those children can be repatriated appropriately. What happened was that their designation, when they came to the United States prior to 2008, they were given a designation, and under the law then, it was for immediate repatriation. In 2008, the Democratic Congress passed laws, the Republicans signed on to it, the President signed the law, and it changed the designation so that these children would be moved, instead of for immediate repatriation, they'd go into a court for adjudication. That needs to change.
And now there's an effort trying to change
Correct.
that.
In fact, I think the bill's being introduced this morning.
All right. We're out of time, but we want you to know that we're working to get both Doug Ose and Ami Berra back here for a debate. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us today.
I look forward to the debate.
We are looking forward to it.